South Sudan and Uganda will not go to war because of something that can be done.
Okay.
There's no day they will go to war. Yeah, so while we were away, there was a small fight between the UPDF and the Sspdf, small forces that are located in Kajokeji. And based on different sources, people are saying 5 South Sudanese, 1 Ugandans, and other people say the death toll has gone up to 8. And as we are speaking, I've seen something on social media which we take with a grain of salt because we are not sure if those one are facts. People saying that the Ugandan forces have already moved in and they have already renamed 10 villages from what they used to be called by the people from South Sudan that were living in the Kajokeji, and they renamed them into other different names for the Ugandan part. And what I saw was that most people were following Muhoozi, President Museveni's son, X account. And they were taking that as something that's serious to follow. I'm like, these people, don't they know Muhoozi, who he is when it comes to Twitter or the X? He always put a lot of controversial things on that social media space. Because last year or 2 years ago, he said that they can easily capture Nairobi, Siju, in a day or in 2 days. Or Siju, their border is where and where. And such kind of claims were not anywhere near to be true. So when he posted some of the things, our people are taking as something serious that the government should act swiftly, which is not the case. So, in my opinion, coming to the border of Kajokeji and Uganda, I don't live there, so I don't really know where the exact border is supposed to be. But what we are supposed to look at is when South Sudan was fighting, when there was a war, do we think if there were, let's say, a border between the Uganda and the South Sudan was at a specific place at Kajokeji during the war, do you think, or do we think that the Ugandans that were supposed to live at the border were actually staying there? No. When there's war and it's not a war of your country, you move to safer places. And the South Sudanese that were staying wherever they were staying, they might have moved into the Uganda. I'm not saying that's what has happened, but they might have moved. And now Uganda is saying, now that you people are not fighting anymore, go back to your land, and we are just taking part of our land. And then the maps have already been drawn. The one that we have, like when you look at the Uganda and the South Sudan, that border is still there. People can go follow it until where it land on the actual land, and people will be able to see it. So it's something not so serious that people will have to take that South Sudan will have to fight with Uganda. It's not worth it. It can be solved in a simple way. Come with the map, do the geo something, whatever mapping to learn exactly where it's supposed to be. And then it will be there. Take, for example, during the war, the Ugandan first post before entering the actual Uganda where the government present was a place called BBA. It's like 15 minutes to 20-minute drive from Numili border. That's how far they used to be. But after the peace came and everything happened, they came all the way to Ilegu. Ilegu is just a border, is a river that is dividing, or just a bridge that is dividing Uganda and South Sudan. Are we saying that Ilegu is part of South Sudan, that Ugandans are taking it because they used to stay in Bibi and now they have moved closer to Ilegu?
I think that adjusting of border is mainly meant for proper immigration rules, so that to make sure when people are leaving one country to another, then like they don't carry illegal goods.
No, but what happened, they come to a closer, like when you draw the map, you'll see this is where the line pass. This is South Sudan, this is Uganda. When there's no war, the border services will be brought closer to this line. But when there's war, the country that's not at war move away. And that's why they had a place at Bibia. Bibia is 15 minutes away from Numili town. But now when there was no war, that's why they came to Ilegu. So they did not take away the part of Sudan which is Ilegu. Ilegu is part of their country.
Okay, I'm not really sure about that because I've not studied any history and government of South Sudan. But like the thing is, I think even right now when you cross the border of Uganda into South Sudan, there's only one border and the office of immigration is only one. You just enter, pay whatever you need to pay or do clearance and then you go. I think that's mainly because of logistics reasons, so that to ensure that they don't have two big offices on different sites whereby someone has to go through this and then go through another office. So that's why they have that one big office there. But it's not to say, okay, so now since the border services of Uganda are based in Numili,
in Ilegu,
around that place where you enter Numili sasa. Si wako tu hapo within the same office.
Yeah, on the other side of the river.
Does it mean they are going to capture Numili because they have moved that close? No, I don't think so. It's just that they are making it easier so that you don't have to drive from one place. You go check in, do whatever you need to do, and then again drive for a few minutes and go again to another office.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, it's the same thing that we are saying. It's just that for our people to understand that when there's war, the country that is not at war move their people to a safer areas. When the peace has returned, they move back to the last part of their land, the original part of their land. So that's what might be happening in Kajokeji. And when I use Ilegu as an example, it's to show that how Ugandan had stay away from Numili border during the wartime because they didn't want to risk their people. But after the peace was signed, they came closer so that it made things easier. And even like when you go to Kenya, you know the way Malaba border, the way the Busia border is. It's just like a small gate that you open and you enter Uganda or you enter Kenya. So that's how support border is supposed to be. When there's no fight, people come way closer. And maybe during the time of Idi Amin and such kind of things, maybe the Kenyan people were a little bit more into Kenya to avoid the crossover fight from the Ugandan side. But when there was no war, they came closer, and that's why they only have a gate between Kenya and Uganda. So I'm saying in this case, what might have happened is the exact border between Kajokeji and Uganda, of which I don't know, might have been people moving around. That, like, most of the time, these people are the same community. Sometimes they speak the same language. So maybe the Ugandan people move because of safety. Now that it's more safe, some of them are just returning to their actual land. Because I'm not sure, and I know Uganda cannot claim a part of South Sudan that when a map is drawn, it shows that this is South Sudan and they want to claim it. It cannot happen in this age and days.
What about the Migingo Highland?
That one is
Kenya.
How do you divide water?
Yeah, that's where the problem is. The same can apply to the land. Like, people will measure and gauge you, okay, is this person able to go to war, or are they able to defend their land and all that? So border issues, like, you can never say never. People can take that part and then say, oh, because the British don't really know, like, what is supposed to be the end of Uganda and the end of Sudan or South Sudan, because they were just cutting lands into different pieces.
When you look at the map, if it is to be transmapped onto the land, don't you think it will land at somewhere at the exact location?
Yeah.
Don't you think it will?
Yeah, but the same thing happens. These issues with cross-border fights, they happen a lot. And then different countries would claim a part of land that belongs to another country. Even if they know, if you go to the map, you're going to see, okay, this is where the border is supposed to be.
Why is it only happening to South Sudan and its neighboring countries when they knew that they just came out of the war? If you look at that logic, you'll understand that these other countries, for the safety of their citizens, they had to move away from the exact border inward to their country to avoid being killed for no reason. But now that the peace has returned in other countries, they come closer. But because you people didn't know what was happening, because it used to seem like an empty land, you used to say, when you go meet other people, let's take, for example, Lokchokyo. That's where we used to think Lokchokyo is where Kenya begins. And that's why people have been complaining that Kenyans are taking part of Nadapal. But don't you people look at the security risk that was there for the Kenyans, that they had to be at a safer distance?
The thing is, there's no one that really knows what exact location this should be, because Migingo Highland is not just water. There's an island within Lake Victoria. And then Kenya claims it's theirs. Uganda also claims the same. So, like, if people can fight because of that, it has not been solved.
Has it been given to anybody? It has not been given to anybody. It does not belong to Kenya. It does not belong to Uganda. It's belonging to people that are staying there. I'm saying if this map was to be transmitted to the land,
who's going to transmit it?
It can be done if it is that serious. The South Sudan and Uganda will not go to war because of something that can be done.
Okay.
There's no day they will go to war. These are people that a lot of misunderstanding that's happening there. No one is guiding each other. People just grab guns and they start shooting each other with no understanding. But
anyway,
no one is supposed to fight.
I don't know that war that you are describing. Like, I've not seen it on social media, what was happening and why it's happening. But like, if we can go back to the one that we were discussing before of the oldest people, then according